My sister posted a poll online about my 9-year-old daughter. What's worse, her crooked haircut or her nasty attitude? Family voted and made fun of her in the comments section while she was crying her eyes out in the bathroom. When I found out, I didn't cry. I did this. 5 hours later, they regretted everything. At the time, I didn't know what I was walking into. If I had, maybe I would have braced myself. Maybe I would have prepared. But I didn't. I just came home on a Saturday evening expecting the usual noise, the smell of dinner, the TV buzzing. Instead, it was quiet. Too quiet. My husband, Mark, was waiting in the hallway. He looked like he'd been standing there for a while. "She's been in her room for 2 hours," he said. "She won't talk." I think she's been crying. For a second, I thought he meant something small. Maybe she fought with a friend. Maybe she broke a toy. Maybe it was just one of those kid meltdowns. I dropped my bag and went upstairs. I knocked on her door. "Sweetheart." "It's me." Silence. I tried again. "Can I come in?" Nothing. So I opened the door gently. She was on her bed, curled up, her face blotchy, clutching her phone like it was the only thing she had left. "June." My voice was soft. "What's wrong?" She shook her head. "Nothing." It wasn't nothing. Anyone could see that. I sat beside her and waited. Sometimes silence works better than questions. Eventually, she shoved the phone at me and turned her face into the pillow. "Don't be mad," she whispered. On the screen was a screenshot. At first it didn't register, just words and numbers, a picture of her. Then I saw it. A poll. What's worse, her crooked haircut or her spoiled attitude? 19 votes. I scrolled, and the names blurred into knives. My mother, Margaret. "In my day, girls didn't make such a fuss. A haircut was just a haircut." My sister, Courtney. "Definitely her attitude. Always spoiled. Now she looks the part." My nephew, Ethan, 11. "She actually thought it was fashion." Can you believe that? My niece, Bella, 9. June's age, her rival in everything. She was smiling like a model yesterday. So embarrassing. And then more. Short, cutting comments. Snickering. Laughter spelled out like daggers. I blinked at the screen. For a moment I thought maybe I misunderstood. Maybe it was some kind of bad joke I wasn't getting. But no. It was all there in plain words. My family. Mocking my child. Voting on her humiliation like it was a game. Beside me, June's voice cracked. She didn't look at me when she spoke. Her face was buried in the pillow, and her words came out muffled, jagged, like each one hurt to say. "They told me I looked pretty," she whispered. "They said it was fashion." "They smiled at me, Mommy. They clapped. And then—" Her voice broke. She sucked in a shaky breath. Why would they say that if they thought it was ugly? I felt it like a punch I couldn't block. The betrayal, the confusion, the way her trust had been turned into a weapon. My own chest ached with it, like she'd spoken the words straight into my ribs. She wasn't just crying because of the haircut. She was crying because the people she trusted had lied to her face, then laughed behind her back. I couldn't answer her. Not yet. I just pulled her against me and held her while her small body trembled with every breath. I put the phone down. My hands were steady, but inside, everything was turning over. I looked at her, my baby, hiding her face, ashamed of nothing but trusting the wrong people. "Listen to me," I said, and my voice didn't shake. "This isn't about you. It's about them. You are beautiful. You are kind, and you believed them, which only shows how much better you are than they are." She didn't answer, but she leaned into me, and I felt her shoulders tremble. I stayed there with her until her breathing evened out. When I finally went back downstairs, Mark was waiting. "Is she okay?" "She will be," I said. He nodded, but his eyes asked for more. I didn't give it. Not yet, because even then, I was still trying to process it myself. Later that night, after she'd fallen asleep, I sat at the kitchen table with my phone in front of me. I scrolled until the words blurred, every comment carving deeper. This wasn't just a joke. It was betrayal. And they don't know it yet. But what they did tonight will cost them everything. Finally, I set the phone down, pulled my laptop closer, and opened it. If they thought I was going to cry myself to sleep, they didn't know me at all. When I saw that poll Saturday night, part of me wanted to say I was shocked. But if I'm honest with you, I wasn't. Not really. It felt less like a lightning strike and more like déjà vu. Because this wasn't new. This wasn't the first time my family had laughed behind our backs. It was just the first time they'd aimed their poison at my daughter instead of me. And that was unforgivable. Courtney has always been the golden child. As far back as I can remember, she could do no wrong. She'd sing off key, the whole room clapped. She'd doodle something silly, everyone acted like she'd painted the Mona Lisa. Meanwhile, I was the quiet one. If I got straight A's, nobody blinked. If I asked why Courtney always got more attention, my mother, Margaret, shut me down with the same line every time. "You are just imagining it, Lydia. You're too sensitive. Maybe you've heard something like that before. It's code for don't complain, don't expect fairness, just take it." So I did. But let me be clear. I could take it when it was me. What I can't take is when they do it to my daughter. I'll give you one example that's burned into my memory. I was 13. I'd worked for months babysitting, mowing lawns, scrubbing dishes just to buy my first real dress for the school dance. Courtney came into my room and offered to help. She pinned the hem, tugged the straps, told me I looked amazing. And I believed her. That night I walked into the dance thinking maybe, just maybe, I'd get to shine. Then I heard her laughing in the girls' bathroom. "Can you believe she actually wore it?" She thinks she looks glamorous. It looks like a curtain. Her friends howled with her. I can still hear it now. When I told my parents later, desperate for someone to take my side, they dismissed me. Courtney was only trying to help. Don't be ungrateful, not humiliated, not betrayed. Ungrateful. I didn't forgive her. Not then. At 13, you don't forgive. You just bleed. It was only much later, as an adult, that I told myself maybe she'd been immature. Maybe she'd grow out of it. Spoiler, she didn't. Now, fast forward. Courtney and I both have daughters, same age, same school, same events. And wouldn't you know it? The rivalry didn't end with us. It passed down like a family curse. Last year's spring fair proved it. Normally, Bella, Courtney's daughter, gets all the attention. Perfect hair, perfect outfit, loudest cheers. June, my daughter, would usually clap politely from the sidelines, but that year, June decided to make her own fairy costume. Glue, glitter, fabric everywhere. A 9-year-old's masterpiece. And she won. Prettiest costume, a ribbon pinned right on her chest. I will never forget June's face. Pure pride, pure joy. That's the kind of glow every mother lives for. But I will also never forget the way the family reacted. My mother clapped like she was applauding the weather forecast. Courtney smiled so tight it looked painful. Bella sulked. I could see it in their eyes, resentment simmering. And maybe you're thinking, why didn't you call it out, Lydia? Why didn't you defend June right then? The truth is, I thought maybe I imagined it. I wanted to believe I imagined it. Because to June's face, they smiled. They told her good job. And I wanted so badly to let her enjoy her win without me dragging my old suspicions into it. So I smiled with her. I let her glow. because she deserved that moment, and I wasn't going to let them steal it, not in front of her. But inside, I knew. That was the day Courtney decided June wasn't just my daughter anymore. She was competition. And here's the part that stings the most. I was the one holding everything together. I work in IT. I make good money, enough to cover my own bills, and theirs. Yes, I helped my parents with their mortgage, their utilities, their groceries. Yes, I helped Courtney open her salon. I fronted her the lease deposit, bought her equipment, even slipped her money in slow months so she wouldn't lose it. Maybe you're wondering, why, Lydia? Why would you keep helping people who treated you that way? Because I thought that was what a good daughter did. Because I thought maybe if I gave enough, supported enough, they'd finally see me as part of the family, not the outsider. And most of all, because June deserved grandparents. She deserved cousins. I didn't want her growing up lonely just because her mother had a toxic childhood. So I bit my tongue. I told myself I was buying peace. But the truth? I was just feeding their resentment. They hated me for having more. They hated me for being able to provide when they couldn't. And they hated June even more for shining when Bella didn't. Friday afternoon, Courtney called. "Bring June over," she said. "I'll do her hair for the school event Monday. I'll style both girls. They'll look amazing. And here's where I know some of you will be shaking your heads. Why did you say yes, Lydia? Why would you trust her?" Because June was begging me. Because she wanted so badly to believe her aunt would make her beautiful. Because Courtney was a professional stylist. This was her actual job. And because sometimes, against all better judgment, you want to believe family won't be cruel to a child. So I said yes. I regret it. But that's why I did it. When I picked June up that evening, her bangs were jagged, her layers uneven. But she was glowing. They clapped, they praised, they told her it was fashion. And I smiled with her. Because what was I supposed to do? Break her heart in the car on the way home? Tell her she looked ridiculous when she was grinning ear to ear? Number. I let her have her moment. Because she deserved to feel beautiful, even if I had doubts gnawing at me. And maybe that makes me weak. But I'd rather be weak for one night than crush my daughter in that moment. But Saturday night, when I saw that poll, that was when it hit me. The haircut wasn't fashion. The praise wasn't real. The poll wasn't a joke. It was deliberate. Calculated. The same old trick Courtney pulled on me at 13. Only this time, she aimed it at my child. And this time, I wasn't going to let it slide. The first thing I did was simple. Brutal, but simple. I opened my banking app and canceled every transfer. No more rent top-ups for Courtney. No more help with salon bills. No more quietly covering my parents' utilities. It took 5 minutes, a couple of clicks. 5 minutes to end years of being their safety net. And before you judge me, maybe you're thinking, Lydia, that's harsh. They're still your family. Let me stop you. Family doesn't mock a 9-year-old in a group chat. Family doesn't set up a child for humiliation and then laugh while she cries. So no, they weren't my family anymore. They were debtors I'd been bailing out. And the Bank of Lydia just closed. The second thing I did was for June. First thing Sunday morning, I took her to the best salon in town. I told her we were going for pancakes afterward, but really, I needed her to see her reflection without shame. The stylist took one look at her hacked bangs and uneven layers and muttered under her breath, "This wasn't clumsy. Whoever did this didn't care how she'd feel." I wanted to say, oh, they cared. They cared a lot, just not about her. Instead, I held June's hand while the stylist worked her magic. Snip by snip, the damage was reshaped into a sleek little bob. When it was done, June stared at herself in the mirror. For a moment, she didn't say anything. Then slowly, the corners of her mouth lifted, and there it was. Her smile. "You look perfect," I told her. "And tomorrow, you're going to walk into school with your head high." They don't get to take that from you. Because that's what this was about now. Not just fixing hair, but showing her what we do when people try to tear us down. We stand taller. That night, I turned my attention back to Courtney. Not with screaming, not with confrontation. I didn't need to. I had something better. The truth. I logged into the mom's group chat, the place where playdates are arranged, bake sales are planned, and reputations are made or broken in a single post. I didn't rant. I didn't exaggerate. I just told them what happened. This, I wrote, attaching a photo of June's haircut before we fixed it, was done by a professional stylist, to her own niece. Then she praised her to her face and mocked her in a family chat. If she can do this to her own family, imagine what she'd do to your kids. Hit send. Close the laptop. For a moment, I thought maybe nothing would happen, that people would scroll past, or worse, tell me I was overreacting. But then the replies started. That's awful. Never booking her again. Parents need to know about this. And just like that, the boycott began. By Monday, the ripple was already spreading. A friend texted me, "Courtney's salon is half empty. People are talking." By Tuesday, another message. "She had 2 no-shows this morning. Everyone's canceling." And by Wednesday, I knew she'd figured it out. The phone rang while I was cooking dinner, her name flashing across the screen. I almost didn't pick up. But then I thought, no, she needs to hear me. I pressed accept. "You!" she hissed, skipping hello entirely. "You're behind this! My clients are canceling left and right. You're trying to destroy me." I let her rant. "It was just a haircut," she snapped. "A joke. You've always been jealous, and now you're dragging me down with you." Her voice was shaking, though. That told me more than her words did. Finally, I said, calm as a stone, "I didn't destroy you, Courtney. I just told the truth. The rest? That's on you." And then I hung up. For years, I'd stayed quiet. I let them laugh at me, diminish me, use me. But this time, I spoke up. And all it took was the truth to bring everything crashing down. And here's the best part. They don't even know yet how much further they're going to fall. 2 days after Courtney's furious phone call, my phone lit up again. This time it was my mother. I could have ignored it. God knows I wanted to. But something in me wanted to hear what excuse she'd come up with. I swiped to answer. "Lydia," she snapped, skipping hello. "How could you do this?" "She's your sister. Her clients are canceling left and right. You really want to destroy her over a haircut? Over a silly joke in a chat?" I almost laughed. "A silly joke?" "You called my daughter spoiled," I said. My voice was calm, colder than I felt. "You laughed at her. And you've been laughing at me my whole life. Well, I'm done being your punchline." My mother gasped like I'd slapped her. "Families don't cut each other off." "Families don't humiliate children," I shot back. "You lost the right to call yourself my family the second you mocked my daughter." There was silence. Then she hung up. And just like that, I knew. The next round was coming. It didn't take long. Later that week, I heard a car in the driveway. Heavy footsteps. A knock sharp enough to rattle the frame. I opened the door and there they were. My mother, jaw set like granite, and Courtney, red-eyed and furious. Bella lingered in the background, arms folded, sullen. Courtney didn't waste time. "You've gone too far," she spat. "You're ruining me on purpose." My business? My life? All over a haircut? All over a little gossip? Her voice was shaking, but not from shame. From rage. My mother jumped in, voice rising like she was the injured party. "Do you understand what you've done? We can't pay the bills. Courtney can't keep her salon going. We can't keep the house without your help. Is this really worth tearing the family apart?" I felt something in me snap. All the years of swallowing it down, all the times I'd told myself don't make drama, gone. You want to talk about tearing a family apart? I said. You did that when you taught me I was never good enough. When you defended her while she humiliated me. When you let her laugh at me year after year and told me I was too sensitive. Courtney rolled her eyes like she was 12 again. Oh, please. You've always been jealous of me. That's what this is about. You can't stand that people like me more than you. I laughed then, dry, bitter. Jealous? Courtney, the only thing I'm jealous of is how you've managed to live your entire life without an ounce of self-awareness. Her face reddened, but I didn't stop. You want to know why your salon is empty? Because I finally told the truth. I didn't make up anything. I didn't twist anything. I showed people exactly what you did, and they decided they don't want you near their kids' hair. That's not on me. That's on you. Margaret's voice cracked, breaking through. We can't keep the house without your help. Please, Lydia, think of us that word again. Help. Always help. Always give. Always swallow. No, I said. You made your choices. Live with them. I'm not funding you anymore. I'm not swallowing my anger anymore. And you will never get near June again. Courtney's mask cracked then, for the first time. Her eyes darted away, then back at me. We can't pay the mortgage, she said, her voice ragged. You've destroyed me. There it was. The admission. And God, it should have felt satisfying. But mostly, it felt pathetic. No, Courtney, I said quietly. You destroyed yourself. I just stopped paying for it. Behind me, I felt Mark step closer. He put his hand on the door, a silent signal. I met my mother's eyes one last time. You wanted to know if it was worth tearing the family apart? Yes, it was. Because June is worth more than every one of you combined. And with that, Mark closed the door. The knock came again, hard, frantic. But I didn't answer. For the first time in my life, I didn't owe them anything. And they knew it. Months later, they were gone. Courtney's salon didn't just slow down, it collapsed. Empty chairs, canceled appointments, whispers spreading through every parent group in town. With no clients and no money from me, she couldn't keep it open. And Margaret? She couldn't cover the house, couldn't keep the lights on. Without my help, everything they leaned on me for buckled. They packed up, bitter and broke, and left town. No goodbye, no apology, just silence. June, though? She shone. Her hair grew back, soft and even. The butchered bangs were gone, the jagged edges forgotten, and with them, the shame disappeared. She laughed again. She walked into school with her head high. She stood on stage without flinching. One night, after a performance, she squeezed my hand and whispered, Mom, I know now. You'll always stand up for me that moment. Worth everything. So here we are. Some people say I went too far, that cutting my family off, exposing my sister, shutting down the money, it was too harsh, that it was just a haircut. Others say I should have done it much earlier. What do you think? Did I go too far, or was I right to finally draw the line? Let me know in the comments below and subscribe for more.